No, I don't have to look up one more thing,
I
Clint,
gotta look at one. Hold on,
because
one more
you're
thing. Gotta look at
deep
one
in
more
the
thing.
heart of Texas.
I am. I am deep in the heart of Texas. Deep, deep in the
Well,
heart.
first time, no, second time to do the podcast from two different states.
Yeah, we've done it, and it's usually been Nevada, hasn't it?
The other times it was in Nevada.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Nevada. We did. There's that one time with David Basil. I was in Utah. We don't want to bring that up. That was
Yeah,
insane.
we've tried to forget about that one.
That was,
But folks, glad you
oh,
could join us for the Hawg Slop podcast. Your boy Clint is down in Victoria, Texas.
Victoria, Texas. We'll talk about it on the podcast.
We'll talk
What are we
about that a
doing
little
in
bit,
Victoria,
why he's
Texas?
there, and that godforsaken land down
Yeah.
below us. Hope you don't bring any Texas cooties.
I hope not. I'm trying not to.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. Hopefully, we got some basketball, lots of basketball. We'll talk a little bit of Super Bowl and whatever else comes up, folks, because that's what we do on the podcast. So,
This one.
Clint, are you ready for this?
Hey, I think they wait before we play Sean Michelle. I think we need to be sure that the people know that they need to like, share, and subscribe.
They do. They need to
You tell
listen to you on
somebody, they'll
that.
tell somebody. Next thing you know, Paul Feinbaum's talking about us again. So
That's right. And yeah, exactly. So
Paul
that's what we
Feinbaum
need.
adore.
So, folks, do what Clint just said. And you know what? Enjoy some of my buddy Sean Michelle real quick. How about you?
1, 2, 3, 4. You ever seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Never seen a blind man see? I promise you a change is thing. You ever seen a cancer dead? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you a change is broken heart made whole. Ever seen an orphan find a home? Ever seen a weak find the strength? I promise you a change is thing. Ever seen the sick get healed? Ever seen a mystery revealed?
What's up, everybody? It's time. It is that time for the Hawg Slop podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T, Travis Johnson, joined as always by my man, Big C. Clint Clark. Clint, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm great. It has been a whirlwind couple of days. I'm down deep in the heart of Texas, as you say. Deep, deep,
Deep in the heart of
deep in the heart
Texas.
of Texas.
What are you doing down there? Trying to
Well, I was
rope a steer?
yeah,
Okay.
I did. I
All
jumped
right.
in the Gulf of America or Mexico. I don't know. I jumped into the Gulf.
Let's call it the Gulf
Um,
of Cuba.
Wrestled a shark.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Um,
Sounds fun.
really choked him unconscious.
You can be on Gladiator too, wrestling sharks.
Yeah, no, I will. Gladiator 3, and basically it's just me in a Speedo fighting sharks. That's
Man,
listen,
that movie's gonna sell out.
you can go to, I
Sell
mean,
out
it'll probably do no
theaters.
worse than Magic Mike 3.
If there's something fit for a big screen, that's it. Right
That's it.
there.
You know,
IMAX.
that's one of them you can't believe they made an entire movie about the Will Ferrell, Chris Kattan characters that just do this.
Yeah, yeah. What's that? Not
What
the
is love?
Roxbury. Yeah.
But not at the Roxbury.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
wish they would have made. Okay, Saturday Night Live movies. We wish they would have made.
that's what I was going at. I'm thinking, dude, what if you did the origin story on Barney? Like like from Adrian and Barney when they did the Chippendales dancers, like how he like maybe that was his goal.
That's right.
It just worked. But you
That's
do an
right.
entire
And
like
then that's how they
yeah,
responded.
like an origin
Yeah.
story, and like
Yeah.
it ends.
Y'all know what we're talking about. It's the Chris Farley, Patrick Swayze, famous uh fat guy trying out for
Chippendales, and
Chippendales.
Patrick Swayze's just a
Yeah, of
female's
course.
dream,
Yeah. And
and
then Chris Farley.
Chris Farley looks like the guy you take his
Although
shirt off
your
and marry.
moves are very sexy. It's so good. That's a good one. That's a good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, they
That's
should
I
do like
never
an
thought of that.
origin.
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
origin story. Travis, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking unfrozen caveman lawyer.
That'd be another good
I
one.
want the whole show. I want him to like take on some huge, like I used to love that skit. If you don't know what that is, Phil Hartman, he was an unfrozen caveman lawyer, and he'd get in the court in the judge in front of the judge or whatever jury or whatever. He said, "What do I know? I'm just a unfrozen caveman lawyer. When the fax machine goes off in the office, I think there's little demons in there typing out messages." It's so funny, man. Anyway, I think that would be a good one. I think a whole story around Eddie Murphy, the Mister Rogers Neighborhood one or whatever.
Now that would be good.
Like just
You know,
show him in his element.
yeah,
The
it's
apartment
so
complex.
yeah, yeah. No, it's crazy. I watched the music, like the 50 years they're going over the music.
Mhm.
Of course, they covered, Sinead O'Connor and that, and
Yeah.
because you can't. It's one of the deals that and Ashley Simpson are two just iconic
Oh yeah.
moments that mine and your generation remember
Yeah, yeah, for
that
sure.
you couldn't not address them, and they addressed both of them pretty good. My favorite story that came out of that was they had Jim Belushi had them had a punk rock band
Hmm.
on there, and the part of their agreement was that Belushi would come out there when they started thrashing,
Yeah.
and
Oh
well,
my
Belushi
gosh,
didn't
he
come
was so
out, but they
funny.
started doing their thing, and they said that the lead singer and Belushi made eye contact. Belushi was just like, yeah, that little evil nod he does, like he's like, yeah. And Andy Murphy, because if you watch it, Murphy comes on the stage in the background and just starts playing the guitar, just strumming. He wasn't actually doing anything. The other one, I'd also like to know if they could cover this in like maybe another origin story, is how Will Ferrell hurt his back.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one.
I mean, yeah, I mean, but I don't know if you could make an entire movie about that. The cheerleaders, I think you could do
Yeah, they go to like a cheer contest or
yeah,
something.
just do an entire movie like they go to cheer camp, and then there's like mean preppy cheerleaders that
Yeah.
are bullying them, and they have to overcome. I can
Yeah,
see
that'd be funny.
it. Travis, who was it? Was it a worse idea to make a movie out of the Ladies' Man or the Night at the Roxbury's guys?
Was it say that again?
Not at the Roxbury.
Was it worse? The worst one?
The worst idea.
The worst idea was not the Roxbury. Yeah.
Ladies' Man wasn't a bad movie.
Yeah, ladies man, you could,
Yeah.
you could okay.
Tim Meadows is one of them. Like he was on that show forever and never had
Yeah.
a recurring character.
Yeah.
Then the Ladies' Man came up and is like, all right,
Yeah.
here you go. Here you go. But no, Travis, I'm down in Texas, deep in the heart of Texas.
Hmm.
I guess we get to why. Is at work, my job. I've been promoted to regional manager
Yeah.
over the South Texas, and it was just an opportunity I couldn't pass up. But the bad part is that requires me moving to South Texas and down here trying to find a spot to live. I'm going to sell the farm and move to town.
Sell
I
the
got
farm, move to the big city, huh?
big city, Victoria, Texas. So me and the wife are excited about the opportunity, but it's that's the fun thing about doing this via Zoom is me and you could do this podcast and the world's so connected now, like in a way never before, with just technology and streaming and all that. It's like, I'm moving. Am I really,
That's right. We can still, well, of course, we've been doing it from two different parts of the state for the whole time anyway.
yeah,
So
I mean, the only thing that just, where I'm at, just,
add a few hours to that. No big deal.
yeah, I'm only,
No big deal.
you could be here in like 9 hours, Travis.
That's right.
The drive through Houston is not fun, but one of the fun things about Texas is Buc-ee's.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Buc-ee's. And so for those of you that don't know what Buc-ee's is, it is like a amusement park gas station.
Yeah. If you don't know what Bucky's is by now, you've lived under a rock.
You live, yeah.
The proverbial rock.
Yeah. I mean, I took my son to the Buc-ee's light on accident. I think we've told that story on here. He's just like, "Oh, what's the big deal? What's the big
Yeah.
deal?"
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm an hour away from a Buc-ee's now. There's a Buc-ee's gas station in Port Lavaca that's about the size of a come and go.
Yeah.
So if I want to get me some good gas station brisket, it's right down there.
They got some there. Good.
Yeah, they got some there. It's not, of course. I mean, Wharton, about an hour up the road. I'm gonna stop by it tomorrow on the way home. And
But I bet there's some better gas station brisket at some little mom and pop out of the way that still has the, no pay at the pumps out at, what I'm talking about. Like
you have to go in.
Yeah, and they're probably giving it to you on some, brown paper. And
we did stop by a barbecue place yesterday, and I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right. I think brisket was a little drier than I'd care for too. Good sauce. The ribs were all right.
Yeah.
So that sauce.
Beef ribs.
I got the pork ribs.
Oh, well, you're in Texas. Don't expect the pork ribs to be any good.
Now, well,
they don't know how to do pork down there.
I didn't want to say it, but I could do better.
Well, of course, because you're in Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like going to Memphis and getting the beef ribs. They're not going to be any good, or getting the brisket in Memphis.
Yeah,
it ain't going to be good because that's not what they do. You're in Texas, get the brisket, get the beef ribs.
I did get the brisket. Was slightly disappointed in the brisket.
Anything from a cow.
Yeah,
that's their thing. Oh well, that should be their thing.
So now,
sometimes they'll fail you.
Travis, one of the things I did like doing on the farm was I like having the peacock, because not everybody has a peacock.
Not everybody has a peacock.
It's like a flex, right. Like hey,
yeah.
I had a high school history teacher that told my girlfriend's dad to leave me because I was going to amount to nothing.
Little did she know you would one day own a peacock.
I was 16 years old. I was like 16, 17 at the time. So thank you. Great thing to say to a kid. Anyway, but anyway, I digress. So I'm like, okay, I've won. I've got the peacock. I want to dunk on this woman now.
Yeah,
I want to dunk on her. Just
that's right.
Like break the backboard. Like
that's right.
How do I do that? I was like,
you got a peacock and a donkey.
I'm going to buy a camel.
Take that.
I'm going to buy a camel, and then I priced a camel. I'm like, maybe. How much do you think a camel would go for, Travis? I'm just curious.
Well, we've had this conversation, but originally I said a couple thousand.
Okay, yeah. We didn't have it on the podcast, but we had it.
We had it, on the phone.
But 15 grand is what a camel is going to cost.
Yeah, that's an expensive animal.
That's good. So I'm like, all right. So I start Googling, like, buy a zebra. Because I'm like, zebra? Like, maybe I can afford a zebra. And you can buy, and there's an hour and a half from where I'm at in Victoria, there's an exotic animal sanctuary, and you can get a baby zebra, like 3 days old. That way you can start feeding it milk yourself. I don't know where you can even buy zebra milk. Can you get that at Tractor Supply, you think? It was just
maybe. You can get about anything there. So
yeah, I mean, so obviously, yeah.
You probably got to ask the guy to go get it from the back.
It's not going to be one of the things you're going to have. You're probably going to walk up and say to some kid that's like 16 years old.
Yeah.
I need the zebra milk out the back. What?
Yeah.
But no, you can get a baby zebra for $7,500. So I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, I've talked about it on here before. I think my grandpa owned a zebra.
Right. Yeah. That's where I got the idea.
And so, in fact, I've forgotten he had actually had two. Well, not at the same time. But he went and bought them at there's these he would get these magazines and stuff about exotic animals, and there would be in the back there would be advertisements for these exotic animal auctions. And so there
Right.
were these auctions we would go to, or he would go to. My uncle would take him, and they would all be auctioning off camels, tigers, zebras, anything like any exotic. Now you had to have the proper paperwork, or you couldn't buy them. I mean, like my grandpa had to file for the proper paperwork to own a zebra. Okay, but
I thought
uh,
this was American.
that's right, yeah. But he anyway. But back a few years ago when my grandpa was a different fellow. Okay, he was from West Texas, grew up in Abilene, that area, Hamlin, Texas, and he and he was just a character. Okay, he raised donkeys. He'd been a cattleman before that when he was younger, stuff like that. Didn't really own cattle, so he'd worked on cattle farms. But anyway, and he one of these that talked to everybody, a lot like me. Okay, and whenever that uh, Netflix series Tiger King came out, uh, I started wondering if my grandpa ever met
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic, because that's the type of guy my grandpa would have talked to.
No, but yeah.
Like he would have went and talked to that guy. Like you know what I mean? Like he'd have been like, if nothing else, this guy's gonna be some funny stories, and so, like if he was at an auction with him, he would have probably started talking to him and finding out about what he was doing. And they were going to those auctions, and that was Joe Exotic was coming up about the time my grandpa, the same time period, okay, that my grandpa was going to those auctions. So in my mind, there was a meeting between the two. I believe that.
Yeah, no, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember when we got to play with baby lions?
See, no, see, you always think I was there because my girlfriend was there, but I was not there.
You wasn't there?
I was not there. I would remember that. I don't know if maybe Branscombe was with you or something, but yeah.
Well, I know the two girls were there because it was a foreign exchange student was living with that family that owned that safari park.
Dude, and how strange has that got to be for a foreign exchange student? Imagine you're some kid
Yeah.
from Germany, uh,
Yeah.
or Austria, just wherever these kids were from. Usually Brazil, Germany were the two, but you're some kid from Germany, probably in like an apartment building, and they go, "Okay, you're gonna live on this farm that they have
Has
lions and tigers."
baby lions and tiger.
Yeah,
And like we went to their house and they had these baby lions they brought in the living room, man. I just remember like at that time for some reason I was really into Nike hiking boots. Like
yeah.
people were wearing hiking
There was a
boots.
hiking boot phase.
Yeah, there was a hiking boot phase, but I also like Nikes, and Nike made these hiking boots, and I had like two or three different pairs of them at that time. And I just got a new pair, and I was playing with those lines, and they scratched up my brand new Nike boots. But that was so cool because I'm like, I'm playing with baby lions right now
Yeah,
in this living room floor, like they're just a puppy or a cat, a kitten or something, but they're baby lions. Like they're going to grow up to where they could eat me. As big as I am, they could eat me. And I'm sitting here in the floor playing with them, telling them to quit chewing on my laces. It
yeah.
was
If
kind
you
of a
got that
surreal
same
thing.
line today, it would literally eat
Yeah,
you.
like that same line today would not look at me the same. Would not look at me the same. Well, Clint, all right. So let's talk some Razorback basketball. Okay. Now, if I
Yeah.
told you, Clint, if I told you, let's say a couple years ago, let's just go back a couple years, right? And I said Coach Cal was going to be our coach, and we're going to have a week in the middle of the season where we beat Kentucky, Texas,
On the
and
road.
we on the road, and we play Alabama tight at home. while they're ranked number 3 in the nation, where would you say that team would finish at the end of the season?
I would say they'd probably be a Sweet 16 team.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, I would. And what's crazy is they're ranked probably number 14 in the SEC right now.
Exactly. But the prediction that came out that I heard on the radio today, they were talking about that the prediction right now is Arkansas is predicted to be the last 4 in the
Yeah.
tournament and the 14th team, like you're saying. So that's what Wes Moore was saying on the buzz today.
Well, and that's more of if the season was to end right now. I
Yeah.
think you're looking at Arkansas. If you're looking at Arkansas right now, I think you'd be buying the stock, because they had Alabama gave them every reason to quit, and I think this team in the beginning of the season probably would have quit, wouldn't have found an answer,
Mm.
and they scrapped back. I mean, they didn't just lay down for Alabama. I mean, they made Alabama earn it, and they got it tied. I mean, they did.
And I'll tell you, thank goodness for Big Z.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our other guys wasn't playing well against Alabama. Alabama did a good job on them, and they struggled, And Big Z kept us in that game. And Clint, how impressed are you with Billy Richmond?
I'm very impressed with Billy Richmond. I'm also impressed with Carter Knox. These guys are coming
Yep.
to their own. I think, if he can keep this team together, if these guys come back, and I think Arkansas is going to have an unmatched NIL budget, so I think they'll be able to keep anybody they want. Bring in the 2 young guys.
Yeah, you're adding the number 1 point guard and the number 1 shooting guard in the nation.
Yeah, you're going to lose. You're losing Boogie.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, like we talked about on here, I think if you're a marginal second round pick, if you're in a position like Daniel Gafford was a couple years ago, you're not going, or Jalen Williams even.
Yeah.
You're just going to make more money coming back to school.
Yeah. Well, I think in this day and age, you got to expect to lose more than Boogie.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're talking about,
you hope not. You think Cal will be able to keep them. These guys are, and by the way, have you seen the new Vice show came on last night with you were probably traveling, weren't you?
Yeah.
With the new Vice show about Calipari, the new behind the scenes.
No, I haven't, but
I
I definitely want to watch it.
And it was interesting. Mainly, I mean, a lot of the stuff we knew already, there wasn't anything shocking. But one thing that was neat to see was some of the interviews with the players, because it was some stuff, like Thero. We've heard press conferences with him, but some of the stuff you heard from him, and he talked about how the fact, him and Big Z both talked about when Cal got the job that they were dedicated to come with Cal. That they loved Cal and they were going to come with him no matter what, and that they got with Boogie and Billy Richmond and some of those guys and Carter Knox and said, "Hey, y'all come with us. Let's all go to Arkansas." And they helped recruit those guys too.
Yeah.
And just to see their dedication to Cal, how much they care about, that they were dedicated to be with Cal no matter what. And but anyway, but yeah, man, this team is playing. I mean, of course, look, Thero, Clint, he is. I know I've said this before. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite all-time Razorbacks.
Yeah.
Now I want a bigger sample size. Okay, I want a whole season. I want to see him keep going, and I'll be honest with you, I want another year out of him at least. But the way he plays is the way I love to see basketball played. He plays with passion. He plays with heart. He plays with athleticism, and he uses. We've had a lot of good athletic guys. There's a lot of good athletic guys on a lot of teams. But there's a lot of guys that don't know how to use their athleticism. We're seeing Billy Richmond. He's an athletic guy, and he's using that athleticism now. He's learning how to. But Thero started out the season. Thero's averaging 16.5 points, 6.2 rebounds. He's got 1.8 steals. He's leading the team in steals. I mean, he's leading the team in those 3 stats. I mean,
well, with Billy Richmond, you look at a kid that's slowly starting to figure out the college game.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think, this team was young. They had played together. They had to figure some things out.
Yep.
I think this is going to be a tournament team. I know right now they're projected last last four in or first four out or
Something
somewhere
like
in
that.
there. I mean, a marginal tournament team.
Yeah.
I think by the time the season's over, you're going to be looking at an 8-9 seed. Maybe
I think you're
pushing
right. I hope
10.
so. I think you're right.
But
I think
I
as we
really,
looked at the schedule last week, I think that's
yeah,
doable.
yeah, it does. I mean, I think you still got Auburn, at Auburn, but Alabama was one of the games that we said that they just shouldn't win. Because
Yeah.
I think if you look at what Nate Oates has done at Alabama, I feel like he's kind of like in that Dave Van Horn. It's not a matter of if he wins a national championship, but when.
Yeah.
And I think, Nate Oates has just done a
Well, and
fantastic.
I'll tell you, Wednesday night, this week they play, depending on when you're watching or listening to this podcast, um, may not have happened yet, but playing LSU at home.
Yeah.
I think this is a gotta win game.
Oh yeah, this
It's
this is one of them games that you're probably favored in. You've got to win
it's
it. You
not a
can't.
must win, but it's a gotta win. If you want to have the confidence to finish off the season and get that 8 or 9 seed you're talking about, then I think you gotta win this game because this is a game you shouldn't have lost to them down at OSU. This is a beatable team. This
Yeah.
if you're wanting to be that 8 or 9 seed, if you're wanting to prove that you're gelling, that you're putting things together. But Clint, one of the concerns is that this team is playing better on the road than they are at home. They're shooting better on the road than they are at home. And I don't know what that is. We've seen that with the football team some.
Yeah.
But the fans against Alabama were amazing.
Well,
The
oh, and I
and I
think
know, and I'm not blaming. I'm just saying
I think
that was
that
a
has more
tough
to do.
team.
I think Alabama has more to do with why we lost to Alabama.
No,
They're-
I mean, for sure. But
yeah,
what I'm saying is, it's not the fans are doing their part to help them have a good home game. But
yeah.
for some reason, we did not, except for Big Z, no one shot very well against Alabama.
Well, I think you got to look at who was defending them.
Yeah.
Uh,
But we haven't shot against anybody at home.
yeah. Well,
Very well.
but I think if you look at it like you got to look at you. I think Kentucky's the turning point, and even
But
even
even
a
before
good
that, though,
Arkansas.
Clint, we shot
I'm
well
saying,
at Madison Square Garden.
yeah. What I'm saying is a lot of people are being like, "Hey, Kentucky, Kentucky is when this team's kind of figured it out."
Yeah.
That's the theory that a lot of people are going with because then you beat Texas and you beat Texas pretty good at Texas, and then you played good against Alabama. You lost, but Alabama is a national championship contender. I think right now Alabama's ranked second. And how crazy is it that Auburn and Alabama are number one and number two
Oh, yeah.
in basketball?
Can you believe even one poll had Auburn still number one?
Yeah, I think yeah. But I mean that's 1-2 is Auburn
Yeah.
and Bama.
Yeah.
Um,
Same
and
state.
either one of them is going to win the national championship, and then their fans are going to be like, "That's cute." Spring practice starts in 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
no one's going to
Yeah.
care.
Well,
That's
and
adorable.
I'd heard on the radio earlier that to your point, uh Auburn just signed their defensive coordinator to like $2.5 million contract. 2.5 million for a defensive
And what was
coordinator.
crazy was Pittman and Freeze were going after the same guy, and
Yeah.
Freeze got him, and I'm like, I'd rather have T Will, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if the Kentucky was the turning point, you're going to see it continue. So what are we going to see? We're going to see the trend continue of poor performances at home, or are you going to see us, take the steps that we think we're taking? And I think we're going to see them take the steps we're taking. I'm hoping we don't
Well, I
see a
think
regression.
even if you don't, even if you shoot like you did against Bama, but you play just as hard, you beat LSU.
Agreed.
So you can go in and have a kind of a stinky shooting game for most players. I mean, that wasn't terribly stinky, but it wasn't great. Okay. But you can have a subpar shooting game, but play with the effort and the drive and get a couple like Z and some others that play well, and you can still beat LSU. I think you can
Well,
still
you're
do that.
I think we're more talented than LSU for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for
But
sure.
I think the team's coming together. I think you're going to see them growing, and I'm hoping that we're going to see that continue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Travis, well, football season is officially come and gone.
and it's time for some baseball, baby.
Time for some baseball, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You watch that first drive by Philadelphia, and there's that horrible pass interference, offensive pass interference call. And I think America just went like, like, man, here we go again.
Yeah.
Another game call for, and then there was a makeup call like a drive later, where they like, yeah, they that was a makeup call. And then man, Philly just took them behind the woodshed, man.
Yeah, it was we'd talked about it. Both of us picked Kansas City. We're wrong. Uh Philly had, but I mean, both said Philly had the more talented team, and they did, and their talent stood up, stood strong, and the big difference was the MVP Jalen Hurts by far.
Yeah.
He played a wonderful game.
No,
It wasn't the huge stat game, what 210 yards passing, something like that, but he did exactly what he needed to do, and he made one mistake the whole game, and the rest of the time he did exactly what he was supposed to do. So you got to love it for that guy.
no, because I think, we remembered he was 18-year-old kid, true freshman, became the starting quarterback for the University of Alabama.
Mm.
And then the next year they signed this 5-star named Tua Tagovailoa. And
Tiger
everybody
Wagga
immediately,
Wagga Wagga. Yeah.
whatever, I can't say it.
Yeah.
Tua. Anyway, everybody immediately wanted Jalen Hurts benched.
Yeah.
All Jalen Hurts was done was lead you to the national championship game the year before.
Yeah.
And he struggled a little bit in the national championship game, but I mean, when you get there, you're playing the number 2 team in the country. They're probably going to have a good defense.
Yeah.
Then the next year, he gets benched in the national title game. I mean, they sit him down and they bench him. And he doesn't pout about it. He's happy that they win the national championship, celebrate with the team. I remember there's all this speculation that he's upset. He goes, man, no one came and talked to me about this. He goes, I'm good, Sits the bench like a man because he got beat out by Tua. And then, Tua gets hurt in the SEC championship game, and Hurts comes in, quarterbacks him, and then transfers to Oklahoma. Heisman finalist with Tua.
Yeah.
And man, he didn't get drafted in the best situation either. Like I think he got drafted to back up Carson Wentz in the second round, and they weren't even sure he's going to play quarterback.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought he was going to play running back. I remember people giving Alabama fans a hard time saying that your quarterback's a running back.
Yeah.
When he was their quarterback, and dude, he's an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
When I watched the game and saw that it was being ref clean and fair, and I just saw how on he was, I'm like, Philly's going to be hard to beat.
Well, the story of the game, though, I mean, yeah, Hurts was a big story in that game. But to me, the story of the game was the defensive line for Philly.
Yeah.
And not just the defensive line, because everybody talked about them, but the defensive line and the coverage, because the defensive line doesn't get to Mahomes if those receivers aren't being covered so well.
Yeah.
But Mahomes looked like he was on roller skates the whole game. because they were getting pressure while those defensive backs were covering those receivers and stopping those crossing routes for those speedy receivers that they like to throw. Those linebackers were able to stay in coverage because they never blitzed the whole game, I don't think. Philly never blitzed. They rushed four, and those
Yeah.
four had just reign of terror on him on Mahomes. And he just looked so uncomfortable, man. He like he didn't know what he was doing. And the greats, you don't see that happen much. You saw that happen, when there was a few times people were able to do that to Brady. When they with Brady, all you had to if you had someone that could really hit the A gaps hard, Brady had a hard time because Brady's whole game was stepping up into the pocket. He would let you come on the outside. He'd step up into the pocket. He told his tackles, just keep pushing them outside. I'll step up into the pocket, and he would make throws like that. And whenever you took that pocket, collapsed that pocket, Brady was, that was the way to beat Brady. That's what the Giants did to beat him. That's what
Yeah.
uh, was it the Rams beat him too? But
Oh, it
anyway,
was the
whoever it
Eagles
was,
beat him.
yeah, Eagle, yeah, that's what they did.
Giants.
But anyway, that's what they were. They had Mahomes' number, man, and because they had him covered up, they had Kelsey covered up, they had everybody covered up, and so that defensive coordinator
No, Fangio
earned
called a
his
great
earned his
game.
money.
Yeah, and and I was watching ESPN the next day. And they go, "Is the GOAT debate over?" Because I'm like, dude, there
No,
shouldn't have
it's
been a
not over.
GOAT debate to begin with, but it's not over.
It's
He's
not a
28 years old,
yeah, yeah.
and let me tell you something. Jalen Hurts is 26 years old.
That's right.
There are some young. There's
In
some
fact,
young.
both of those rosters are two of the youngest rosters in the NFL.
Yes, it's unrealistic to think Philly's going to keep a lot of those guys.
Yeah,
It's just you're not going to be able to keep that defense together. But when you have success, we won championship at Arkansas Tech. I remember that next year. Of course, I graduated. Well, I didn't graduate. I just quit going to college. I don't know. No, I graduated eventually. But
Mhm.
anyway, so but yeah, I remember Coach Hosa, our defensive coordinator, became the defensive coordinator for Florida Atlantic under Howard Schnellenberger.
Yeah,
Went from Arkansas Tech to working for Howard Schnellenberger.
yeah,
Um, so when you have success, people are going to poach you.
yeah.
So Kellen Moore finally gets his opportunity after years of doing.
Congratulations, Kellen.
Congratulations, Kellen. By the way, you were $72 million over the salary cap.
What?
$72 million, and your quarterback is Derek Carr.
Wait, really?
Yeah, no, I'm not making
Yeah,
it
I
up.
want to go back to Philly.
Yeah, dude, it's a bet on yourself, but man, he's not been set up for success here.
Yeah,
You got to wonder who's the front office guy that let that happen.
yeah.
I mean, how
That's
does
terrible, man.
yeah that is your roster.
Who
I
are they
mean,
spending all that money on? Because
I,
you don't have a Dak Prescott that you've given a huge
no, I don't.
contract
I
to,
don't know what they've done.
or
It's like
Russell Wilson, like what happened to Seattle. Uh,
they talk about Derek Carr is like too expensive to keep, too expensive to cut because you'd have like 10, 15 million in just dead money,
yeah,
just dead. I mean, it's like buying something really stupid on your credit card and having to make the payment
yeah,
every month and going, I don't even remember what I bought with this stupid money.
yeah.
You're sitting there paying
So
back.
dumb.
Yeah, and it's
NFL teams are stupid
yeah,
sometimes,
there's
and I'm a fan of the King of the Hill on that one. But anyway,
yeah, you dude, I'm sorry, Travis.
and now they're talking about with Cleveland, they're talking, Miles Garrett, of course, is wanting out, and he's got 2 years
Right.
left on his contract. And so they're talking, like I heard on ESPN radio this morning, they were talking about uh possibly him going to uh maybe doing San Francisco doing a trade for him and sending Brock Purdy because they're fixing to pay Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And so San Francisco's been notorious for keeping their low contracts on their quarterbacks so they can have a talented roster, which is very key. And anyway, so they were talking about that. And of course, San Francisco's got a lot of draft picks that they could throw in there too. But also, they're talking about Nick Chubb getting traded out or losing him too. Man, that's gosh,
Yeah.
it's tough
Yeah.
being a Browns
I
fan,
did
man.
see Abdul Carter. They have y'all kind of penciled into you at number 2. Um,
Some people do. Some people have Travis Hunter. Some people have. I don't think Dion's going to let Travis Hunter go there.
yeah.
I think he's going to advise. I think Dion's going to advise Travis Hunter to, if Cleveland calls, tell him you better go somewhere else.
I mean, dude, how hard is it to be a friend of the fan of a franchise that dysfunctional?
I know.
Just that.
And the thing was, just a few years ago, we've talked about it on here. Things were looking up. They had their quarterback in Baker. Things were looking up. They had Nick Chubb at running back. They had Myles Garrett. They had one of the best offensive lines in the league. They had one of the better defenses in the league. They had a good roster. They probably needed some more help at receiver, but they were working on that. And then they decided to let Baker go and get Deshaun Watson, and then just blew it all up, man. Just back to the bottom again. So anyway, people are tired of hearing that. They don't care about the Browns. So anyway,
Well, and I'm at a place I don't have an NFL team.
yeah,
So I can just make fun of you because the Browns are so dysfunctional.
yeah.
But
And I just got to take it because I don't have an argument for you.
You find players to root for, and the guys that are easy to root for are guys that like Baker Mayfield. I remember watching Baker Mayfield like freshman year at Texas Tech, where
Yeah,
he had won the starting job as a true freshman walk-on.
yeah,
Had won the starting at a Power 5 school at the time,
yeah,
and just then I watched him. Guess he got tired of Cliff Kingsbury's crap and moved to moved to Oklahoma, and then the rest is history. Beat out
yeah.
a returning starter who ran him off to A&M. Now, Travis, which team are you most excited about to see where they go next year in the NFL? Is there a team that you're like, okay, I'd like to see what step they take?
Um,
I think the easy one to say is the Commanders because you're going to be
yeah,
going into Jaden Daniels' sophomore season. I'm also I'm excited about I'm excited about see what the Houston Texans do.
yeah,
Part of the reason I'm 2 hours from them, I could go
yeah.
catch an NFL game.
Well, and they're just
But
gradually getting better. CJ Stroud's a stud. They've
yeah, they're
added
getting
good
better. And the
pieces.
other one, the Carolina Panthers, too.
Yeah,
They because Bryce Young took a beating
yeah,
the year before, and I think we're too. There's the microwave society we're in now. We're too quick to call kids flops,
yeah.
and sometimes it just takes time.
Well, and
I tell you, like Brandon Allen's a career. Go
a
ahead.
couple of things I'm anxious to see. I want to see what Shadur Sanders does in the pros, and I want
Yeah,
to see what Travis Hunter does. I mean, there's some other great players in this draft, and I hate to be Colorado centric here, but those two players, I want to see if Shadur Sanders is the real deal. I have a feeling he is, but he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. He seems to, have the athletic ability he needs. I'd like to see him somewhere where he has a good offensive line because, he's been doing this at Colorado with a pretty rough offensive line there.
yeah, and I tell you, I think if nothing else, Travis Hunter. I don't. He's got to. They're going to have to pick a position. I don't think he can be playing the snaps he's played.
Well, but he's, him and if you're watching all the the interviews with him and Dion, Dion's saying, look, it'd be easier for him to do it in the pros than it was in college. He said because less pro teams run no huddle. And he said he's going to play less plays in the pros going both ways than he did in college. And so, but like someone said, I saw someone say too, they were talking to Travis Hunter. They said the thing they worry about him is he's going to be going against some big dudes. The they get bigger, faster, stronger in the NFL, and he's going to be
Yeah,
taking
no,
some
I agree.
hits.
No, I think they should. I think it'll be, I think he'll end up probably at corner.
Yeah, that's what I think
Who
too. But
knows?
I
We'll
think they'll
see what
put him at
happens. But
receiver some. But anyway, well, Clint, also
oh
we got
no,
to
there'll
talk
be
about
packages for him for sure.
yeah, Clint. We also got to talk about this weekend starts Razorback basketball. I mean baseball. Sorry, we already started basketball,
Yeah,
but Razorback baseball starts. Okay, it's going to be a cold weekend. I think they got a 4-game series, but a lot of people are expecting them to maybe have to cancel because of the cold, or maybe play a doubleheader one day or something. I'm anxious to see this team. I don't know a
are
ton
they
about
playing in
them yet.
Fayetteville or are they playing in Arlington?
Fayetteville. This is Fayetteville, and then they'll
Okay,
go to Arlington, I think, the next week. Um,
yeah.
this one, I forget who they played this week, but it's somebody I forget. Anyway, um, of course, Geichel's going to be your probably number one starter, um, more than likely. From what I understand, I think Zach Root, who's a transfer from East Carolina, I think is going to be uh, maybe the number two. And then they're talking about Gage Wood possibly being the number three starter.
Yeah, because he'd
However,
worked his way to number two.
but Gage Wood, they said in the last weekend uh, in their practice games got rocked. So um, we'll see what happens there. There's some guys on this team I'm anxious to see how they play in the field. Of course, we got Diggs coming back. Uh, Rocco Pepe uh, from Fresno State, first baseman. I think they got him penciled in at first base. He can play outfield also. Nolan Souza is another one that they project to start at second base. Um, and I
Lloyd,
forget
what's the
which
short?
which which catcher it is, but I forget his name. Um, Let me see if I can find it here. Anyway, the catcher that's going to start is like has really been crushing the ball in the off season. So anxious to see that. So we're ranked. I predicted what number 4, number 5 right now, something like that is where we're ranked. I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're definitely a top 10 team, and you're gonna. I mean,
And
you're
there's
like the top three teams in the country, I believe, are SEC teams.
yeah. So
It's Arkansas, A&M, and Tennessee.
we'll be definitely we'll see what happens this weekend. It'll give us some fodder to talk about the baseball team, but I know a lot of people, look, we've become a baseball school, man. It's a That's what we are now. We're there's a little less excitement. We still get excited about football, but there's a little less excitement there. We still get excited about basketball. It's probably about the same, especially with Cal. Musselman brought excitement. Even though last year was tough, people still paid attention to basketball. But this baseball team has been having, it's competing every year, and so we gotta, that keeps the fans coming back, and so we're excited to see what happens with the baseball team. Hopefully, they get a sweep this weekend to start us off, and we see some good pitching out there. But you hear Van Horn talking; he's excited about this team. He thinks they're as talented as he's ever had. So let's hope so. Let's hope so, man. Well, Clint, uh, before we go, I know you've been busy trying to get ready to move and everything, but what you been watching?
Dude, I still been keeping up with Beast Games.
Yeah, it's about
Mr.
it's I've
Beast.
been
Yeah,
keeping up with that
yeah,
too.
they got one more episode left. They're down to the final six. Been keeping up with that. Man, I've been keeping up with wrestling. Raw on Netflix. They've been turning out some good shows.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's just overall just good time to be a WWE fan. They're putting out a lot of good product, and the matches have been good. And so, how about yourself? What you been watching, Big T?
Man, I got a new show that's become one of my favorites right now on Max, HBO Max is um The Pit. It's
Okay, I've seen advertising. I haven't watched it.
Noah Wiley that was on ER.
Okay,
It's about an ER in Pittsburgh called The Pit. And it's uh it's really good, man. It's I was a big ER fan back in the day. Watched every episode of ER, watched them multiple times since streaming. It's one of those shows that I watched every season, okay, and enjoyed it. But so I like Noah Wiley, I liked all that, and so but he's it's not a continuation of that. He's a different character in this one. But he's like the main doctor in this ER.
right.
And anyway, it's really good. It's an excellent show. And just has some really neat stuff. And of course it hits on some of the troubles that a inner city ER faces, I mean just
I'm sure. Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. But it's really good, man. And then have you been watching Traders?
No,
You
I have
turned me
not
on to
watched
that
it.
show.
I'm no, I do like Traders, but I'm gonna wait. Can I be honest with you, Travis? Like I can't watch
Sure.
Traders hardly at all. Like the beginning of the show, I fast forward to where they start turning on each other. I pretty much just watch the table vote at the end
Oh,
when they're all
really?
turning on each other.
Well, man, this one has well, I've watched like every season of Survivor, and so it's got Boston Rob on it. He's one of
Yeah, I saw Boston
it's
Rob.
one of the goats of Survivor, right? And then it had a couple other cool Survivor people on there.
I saw one of the Bella twins was on it.
Bella twins.
Maybe Nikki Garcia or Brie Garcia.
Okay.
Yeah, one of
Oh
them.
yeah, oh from wrestling. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nikki. Yeah, she was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Wes from the challenge is on it.
Okay.
And well, yeah. And then uh anyway, it's pretty good, man, which I told you that show is pretty much a game I used to play with my youth group called Mafia.
Yeah.
Except we did it just sitting around like it was like the table at the end, it was just that's the whole game. And you just decide on people to kill, and then the Mafia, like you just have everybody act, close their eyes, and the Mafia you tell them to wake up, and then they have to decide on who they want to kill. So it's Mafia instead of Traders. And so anyway, but it's a similar game, similar type of rules. You got to try to figure out the goal of the game is for the citizens to kill, which are the faithful is
Right. Yeah.
on that. Okay, so anyway, it's a neat game. So if you've ever been around me and you've played that game, because I've played it with every youth group I've had, it's one of those like great games to play. Um, Group games. I learned it in college and just have carried it with me and taught a lot of people how to play over the years. But anyway, it's that in real life, or not real life, but in a bigger scale or whatever. So, and then you add the little stuff they do on the side, the challenges or whatever. So anyway, well, Clint, man, have fun in Texas, dude.
Yeah.
And
I'll think about
folks,
you at Bucky's tomorrow.
yeah, man, eat some brisket for me.
There you go. Give me a brisket breakfast taco.
Yeah. Well, down in here in Camden, we have a new restaurant. It's not real new now. It's been around for a year or so, but it's called Beard and Buns Burger Company.
Okay.
Okay. And they do like fancy burgers. Okay, like and that's all they do. Well, they do like a chicken sandwich too, but they do. And they also have started doing some like Texas barbecue on Sundays, and they've had it some on weekends. And so one of the burgers I've gotten there had pulled pork on it. So it's a burger patty, pulled pork, candied bacon, cheese, and then some of their barbecue sauce. And then I went there last Saturday and I wanted to they have one called the Zeus, which it's too big. I wasn't going to get it because it's 2 third-pound patties with brisket in between them.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, but I mean, you can't finish that.
Yeah, and so they have a smaller one with 1/4-pound patties. I was going to get that and save some of it for later, and then they have a single patty one you can get also. But they wasn't doing brisket that day. But I do have to tell you about one thing I ate, and let me ask you if you would eat this, okay?
Okay.
If you think you'd like it. I have some friends own a coffee shop, and they have a bakery in it in Camden, okay? And they do like desserts and stuff. Well, they have a new dessert they just started making, and they actually made it for this Beard and Buns place because they're doing a special Valentine's deal, and they asked them to create this dessert for their special Valentine's deal. It's cheesecake.
Okay.
Maple bacon flavored cheesecake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'd eat that. Yeah, 100%.
Dude, it was one of the best things I've ever eaten, Clint.
Yeah.
It really was. Like, I'm talking dove descended on me like the Holy Spirit. I mean, I heard angels singing. It was amazing. Because they did wonderful making it. Because it had bacon, but it wasn't overpowered with bacon, so it still tasted like cheesecake. You know what I mean? It had enough bacon in it, and then it had maple, but not too much maple to where it's overly sweetened from the maple. You still could taste the cheesecake. Okay, so it was a good mix. They didn't overpower it because, those two things could overpower something like that. And it didn't. Man, it was so good. Like, I wish I'd have been able to eat more of it.
I understand that.
And so it may be something I call them and have them, like my next family get together or something. I may order a whole one and then just never deliver it to my family. Just sit and eat at my house. It'd be a cheat day.
Yeah, cheat week.
Cheat week, yeah. Well, folks, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We need you to put this out there. Let people know, because that's how people know, is when you let them know. That's the way this world works, Clint. You see a good movie, you tell people about it.
Tell them about it. Like, hey,
see a good show, you tell people about it. You hear about a great dessert like maple bacon cheesecake.
Tell somebody.
You tell somebody about it.
You see a mediocre podcast, tell somebody.
You see a mediocre podcast, tell them. Tell them. With 2 good-looking,
handsome guys.
Handsome fellas. Or this one, either one. Whatever podcast you want to talk about. Anyway, folks, appreciate you. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Clint, don't bring them Texas cooties up here, boy.
I might.
Don't bring them up here, boy.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying when your kingdom come.